May 17th, 1955. Warner Bros. Studios. During the filming of East of Eden, a young actress was crying. Director Elia Kazan was shouting. The crew was silent. Then Marilyn Monroe entered the set, raised her hand and said stop. The next 5 minutes made Kazan call Marilyn a hero. May 17, 1955. Warner Bros. Studios, Set 7. Marilyn Monroe wasn't supposed to be there that day. She had no shoot, but she'd come to visit James Dean. They were friends. They took lessons from the same acting coach, Lee Strasberg. As she approached the set, she heard a voice, a shouting voice. No, 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 how many times is this? 10th time. Marilyn stopped. That voice was familiar. Elia Kazan, famous director. He directed A Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront. Cinema genius, but also ruthless. Marilyn looked through the door. Chaos on set, lights blazing, cameras stopped, and in the middle, on a chair, sat a young girl, crying. In her 20s, dark hair, very young, very scared. Julie, Kazan said harshly, this is a simple scene. Just walk through the door and cry. Why can't you do it? I'm sorry, the girl said, trembling. I'm trying. Trying isn't enough, Kazan shouted. You need to do. This is method acting. You'll feel it. You'll use your emotions. The girl cried harder. Crew members were uncomfortable, but nobody spoke. Nobody spoke against Kazan. He was a god. If you were an actor, he was your god. James Dean stood in the corner. He looked worried, but didn't intervene, because he knew, if you argue with Kazan, you lose the film. From the top, Kazan said, and this time do it right. The girl stood up, still crying, went to the scene, took position, action. The girl walked through the door, tried to cry, but it wasn't real. It was forced. Cut. Kazan punched the air. You have no talent. I don't even know why you're here. The girl collapsed, literally, crouched on the floor, and sobbed. And that's when Marilyn Monroe entered the set. Nobody saw Marilyn, but Marilyn saw everything. She saw that girl, she saw that fear, and she saw herself, Norma Jean from 10 years ago. And Marilyn knew, she had to save that girl. Marilyn walked onto the set, slow but determined steps. Kazan was still shouting, you can't be an actor. Maybe be a waitress, maybe a secretary, but an actor, enough. The voice was quiet but firm. Everyone turned. Marilyn Monroe stood there, sunglasses, yellow dress, but her face was serious, very serious. Kazan was surprised. Marilyn, what are you doing here? I came to visit James, Marilyn said, but I see there's something more important here. She approached the young girl, knelt down, extended her handkerchief. Hello, she said gently. What's your name? The girl kept crying. Julie. Beautiful name. I'm Marilyn. I know, Julie said, sobbing. I know you. Marilyn smiled. Julie, look at me. Look at me. Julie raised her head, red eyes, swollen face. Now breathe, Marilyn said. Deep breath. With me. Julie breathed. So did Marilyn. Good, Marilyn said. Now tell me, why are you crying? Because I can't do it, Julie said. I can't do the scene. I'm a bad actress. No, Marilyn said sharply. You're not a bad actress. Marilyn stood up, turned to Kazan. Elia, can I talk to you? Privately? Kazan frowned. Marilyn, I'm currently. Now, Marilyn said. Her tone was polite, but non-negotiable. Kazan sighed. Okay, come. They stepped away from the set. Marilyn spoke in a low voice, but firm. What are you doing, Elia? I'm doing my job, trying to get a performance from that girl. No, Marilyn said. You're destroying her. You're scaring her. And fear doesn't bring performance. It brings blockage. Kazan crossed his arms. Marilyn, you're not a director. I do method directing. You have to push actors. Pushing and crushing are different things, Marilyn said. That girl is just starting. This is her second film, and you're humiliating her in front of 300 people. This is business, Marilyn. If she can't handle it, I couldn't handle it either, Marilyn said quietly. Kazan stopped. 1948, my first big role. Ladies of the chorus. The director yelled at me. Just like you're doing. He said, you have no talent. He said, you'll never succeed. And I cried, just like that girl is doing. Marilyn's eyes filled, but she held back the tears. And that day I made a decision. If I ever became powerful, I would never let anyone feel that way, especially young, vulnerable actors. Kazan was silent. Elia, you're a great director, Marilyn said, but right now you're destroying that girl, and I won't allow it. Kazan couldn't believe it. No, Marilyn said, because I am that girl, me from 10 years ago, and back then nobody protected me. But today I will protect her. Kazan looked at Marilyn. He knew this woman, from her dumb blonde roles. But the woman standing before him now wasn't dumb. She was powerful, determined, and she was right. Marilyn and Kazan returned to the set. "Everyone take 15, Kazan said. The crew relaxed and dispersed. Marilyn went to Julie. "Come with me." She took her to a quiet corner. They sat. "Julie, I'm going to ask you something. And be honest. Why do you want to be an actress?" Julie hesitated. Because I love it. I love acting." "Good. Now another question. You can't do this scene because you're scared, or because you don't understand the character." "Both," Julie said. "My character Abra is very complex. She's hurt, angry, but also fragile. Then forget method acting. For now." Julie was surprised. "But Mr. Kazan wants method." "I know, and method is great, but first you need to be comfortable, because when you're in fear, no technique works." Marilyn held Julie's hands. "Julie, I'll tell you a secret. I use method too, but first I make myself feel safe. Now we're going to do an exercise." "What exercise?" "You're going to play Abra. But first, tell me about Julie. Who are you? Where did you come from? Tell me about your family." Julie started talking, slowly, about coming from Ohio, a small town, her family supporting her, but Hollywood being so scary. Marilyn listened, patiently, empathetically. "Now," Marilyn said, "Abra also comes from a small town. She's also scared. She also feels like an outsider. You and Abra are actually very similar." Julie's eyes lit up, but without forcing yourself, while feeling safe. Marilyn stood up. "Now let's rehearse. Just you and me. Nobody's watching. Allow yourself mistakes. You don't have to be perfect." 2 minutes later, Julie was relaxed. 3 minutes later, she was smiling. 5 minutes later, she was playing the scene perfectly. Marilyn applauded. "That's it. See? You can do it," Julie cried. But this time they were tears of happiness. Kazan said, "Action." And Julie was perfect. The emotions were real. The fragility was there. The strength was there. "Cut," Kazan said. Everyone was silent. Julie was scared. Had she failed again? But Kazan was smiling. "Perfect," he said. "That's it. That's what I was looking for." The crew applauded. Julie collapsed in relief, and cried. Marilyn stood in the corner, quietly, smiling. Kazan looked at her, and bowed his head, with respect. After filming ended, Kazan approached Marilyn, and what he said would be told in Hollywood for years. Evening. The set had emptied. Only Marilyn, Kazan and James Dean remained. Kazan approached Marilyn. In his hands were 2 glasses of whiskey. He extended one. "Will you drink?" "Thank you," Marilyn said. They sat, drank silently. Finally Kazan spoke. "You taught me something today, Marilyn." Marilyn was surprised. "Me? You?" "Yes," Kazan said. I'm too harsh. I know this, but I think it's necessary to get results." "Sometimes," Marilyn said. "But not always." Kazan nodded. "What I did to Julie, it was cruel. You were right. I was scaring her. And fear kills creativity." "Yes," Marilyn said. "So how did you learn? This empathy, this understanding?" Marilyn didn't answer for a long time. Looked at her drink. "Because I was Julie," she finally said. "Once, and I was very alone. Nobody protected me. Nobody was kind to me. I survived, but the scars remained. And now you protect others." "Because I can," Marilyn said. "Because I have power now. And power is a responsibility. If I can't use it, what good is it?" Kazan smiled. "You're a hero, Marilyn. A real hero." Marilyn laughed. "No, I'm just trying to be a good person." "No," Kazan said seriously. "That's heroism. Using your own pain for others' good. Protecting the weak. Doing what's right, even when it's not easy." Marilyn's eyes filled. "Thank you, Elia." "I thank you," Kazan said. "Today you reminded me. Being a director isn't just about getting results. It's also about respecting people." James Dean approached. "Marilyn, you were incredible. What you did for Julie, I'll never forget." Marilyn smiled. "You could have done it too, Jimmy." "No," Dean said. "I didn't have the courage. But you did, and you taught me something." "What?" "Being a star isn't just about making good films," Dean said. But the story didn't end there. Because Julie never forgot. And 40 years later, in an interview, everyone learned what Marilyn Monroe did that day. Julie Harris was giving an interview. The interviewer asked, "Miss Harris, what was the most inspiring moment in your career?" Julie's eyes filled. "East of Eden filming. Marilyn Monroe saved me." "Saved you? How?" And Julie told the whole story. Kazan shouting, herself crying, Marilyn coming, protecting her, teaching her. That day, Julie said, "Marilyn didn't just teach me acting technique. She taught me courage. She taught me I was valuable. And she taught me this: if you're powerful, you protect the weak." "Did you see Marilyn again after?" "Yes," Julie said. "A few times. She always remembered me. She'd call me Little Julie. And she always asked, 'Are you happy? Are you being treated well?' And now, since Marilyn is dead, what do you feel?" Julie cried. "I'm sad. Because she was my hero. My real hero. And the world remembers her as just a pretty face. But I remember her as an angel." After the interview aired, Other actors started speaking up. Susan Strasberg. Marilyn always helped young actors, protected them. She wasn't a threat to those with power. She was a protector for the powerless. Eli Wallach. Marilyn had a side the public didn't see. She was a mother who looked after the weak. On every set she'd find someone scared and protect them. And Elia Kazan in 1995, before he died, said in his final interview, "Marilyn Monroe taught me the most important lesson in my career. She taught me empathy. She taught me kindness. And she taught me this: great art doesn't come from great pain, it comes from great love." Julie Harris died in 2013. She was 87, and in her will she wrote something. "Put a photo of Marilyn Monroe next to my grave, because she saved my life." Today, in Hollywood there are protection programs for young actors. Psychologists are present on sets. Directors receive empathy training. Actors can complain about mistreatment, and all of this stems from a few moments. A few heroes. Marilyn Monroe was one of them. In 2010, Warner Bros. Restored the East of Eden set, made it a museum, and hung a plaque. On this set, on May 17, 1955, Marilyn Monroe saved a young actress from fear, and reminded us, power is for protecting. Marilyn Monroe has films she never made, lines she never said, but the most important things she did weren't captured on camera, like protecting Julie, and many others, because Marilyn did this on every set. Quietly, humbly, she'd help someone scared, thank crew members, ask extras their names, and that's why, when Marilyn died, Hollywood cried. Not just because they lost a star, because they lost a mother figure. Epilogue. True heroism. What is heroism? Some say, doing big things. Some say, being famous. But Marilyn Monroe taught us something else. Heroism lives in small moments. Wiping a girl's tears. Saying no to a director. Protecting the weak. Marilyn Monroe died in 1962. But her legacy lives on. In Julie Harris. In Elia Kazan. In James Dean. And today, in every young actor. Because Marilyn showed them. If you're powerful, you have responsibility. If you're famous, use your voice. If you've suffered, ease others' pain. On May 17, 1955, Marilyn Monroe didn't stop filming. She saved a life. And reminded us, real stars don't shine on screen, they shine in life. Julie Harris lies in her grave. Next to her, Marilyn's photo. And on her stone it reads, "Marilyn Monroe saved me, and I will love her forever." Because true heroes are never forgotten.